are now a little bit over halfway through the year, which means we now have less than half a year to Christmas, so oh my god. But it also means that it is time for my mid-year wrap-up. So let's see what my statistics and things look like for halfway through the year. Hello everyone, it is Sam, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I'm excited about today's video because this is all about numbers, which is one of my favorite things since I am an accountant after all. But basically, I want to share with you guys my statistics so far for my reading year, kind of see where I'm at and things of that nature, so let us get started. So far this year, I have read a total of 45 books, so I'm almost halfway to my goal of 100. Here's to hoping I can do it. In terms of genre, 10 of them have been graphic novels, 5 of them have been science fiction, 21 of them have been fantasy, 1 has been a YA, 2 of them have been nonfiction, 5 have been classics, and 1 has been a middle grade. So a pretty diverse range of books, I think. I mean, you know, granted, like half of them are fantasy, but that's okay. So for this year, I have read 14,962 pages, which is about an average of 82 pages a day. In terms of book type, the vast majority of the books I have read, at 33%, are trade paperbacks. Graphic novels come in at second at 31%, hardcovers come in third at 20%, and mass market paperbacks come in at 8%, with the remaining being 1 ARC and 1 audio. In terms of years published, the vast majority of the books that I have read have been published between 2010 and 2015. For a total of 29 books, 4 have been published this year, 4 were published prior to the 1920s, 5 were published in the 90s, and 2 were published in the 80s. In terms of book length, 14 have been between 100 and 199 pages, 6 between 200 and 299, 7 between 300 and 399, 9 between 400 and 499, 6 between 500 and 600, 1 was between 600 and 700, and 1 was between 800 and 900 pages. In terms of star rating, I've actually had a pretty good year so far. 13 of my books have been rated 5 stars, 3 have been rated 4.5 stars, 18 have been 4-star reads, 2 have been 3.5 stars, 5 have been 3 stars, 4 have been 2 stars. Haven't had any 1-star books yet, but the year is still young, we shall see. In terms of where the country of origin of the authors that I have read, the vast majority, over half, have been from the United States. Canada and the United Kingdom come in tied at number 2, and then the other authors I have read who hail from different countries include New Zealand, Israel, and Australia. So I think I need to diversify my tastes a little bit here. So that is my general reading statistics for 2016 thus far. So I figured now I'll kind of share with you guys some of my highlights so far this year. A couple of the books that I've really enjoyed, kind of my favorite books so far. I have 2 books I want to share this year that have been my favorite books so far this year. The first one is Tenet of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte. I have never read this before. I've never read anything by Anne Bronte, but I can now say that she's definitely my favorite Bronte. I love this book. It is a masterpiece of fiction. It is especially progressive for the time period in which it was written. And at the time of filming, I'm going to be filming soon my review and discussion of this book, which I think will be a pretty interesting one because there's a lot I want to talk about. But this book is amazing. It's definitely a very engaging piece of literature, and it's very timeless in the topics that it deals with and addresses. And some of the things that she talks about in this book, in cases of misogyny and sexism and double standards, are still very prevalent to this day. Like 200 years later almost, and it's still pretty prevalent. So this is definitely a classic, but it's something that definitely resonates into today's time period. My next favorite book this year so far should come as no surprise because I've gushed about it a lot on my channel, and that is Traitors' Blade by Sebastian de Castell. Not only is he my new favorite author, but this is also one of my new favorite fantasy series, the Greatcoat series. It's kind of like the Three Musketeers meets Lies of Locke Lamora. It follows a group called the Greatcoats, and their king has been killed. These Greatcoats were tasked with protecting their king, but before he dies, he gives them all instructions on what they're supposed to do after his death to kind of unite the country and keep it from falling into turmoil and havoc. And it primarily follows our main characters of Abrasti, Kest, and Falkio, and these guys are hilarious. It's full of a lot of humor and drama, and there's swashbuckling moments, and there's like these moments of like intensity, and it's just so engaging, and I just love it so much. It's like a good mixture of humor and drama and fantasy, and it's just amazing, and I definitely highly recommend it. And then my third favorite book so far this year has been The Red Knight by Miles Cameron. This is part of the Soldier Son trilogy, and I'm going to be reading book 2 soon, but this book is amazing. It's kind of like Arthurian retelling in a new way, because it's not really an Arthurian retelling, but it definitely is. There's some characters that are very reminiscent of characters that you find in the Arthurian sagas, and it is fantastic. I don't typically like a lot of battle scenes, but the battle scenes he describes in this book are amazing. I just love it so much. Basically, the plot of the story follows a group of mercenaries missionaries who are hired by a convent to protect them from the evil beings and demons in this wilderness that they butt up against. In this wilderness, these creatures and beings and demons that live in this place are kind of trying to encroach upon the rest of the world and reclaim the land that was once theirs. And he's kind of caught in the middle. He thinks he's just kind of being sent there, taken on the job as a protector, the Red Knight, but he soon discovers that it's going to be a full all-out war. It is fantastic. I love it so much. It has a lot of really wonderful accurate medieval elements to it. Sometimes when you read fantasy, which most fantasy takes place in kind of a medieval setting, the historical elements that they pull from our own history aren't exactly accurate, but he really has a lot of accuracy in his books, which I really, really enjoy. Plus the Arthurian elements, and the battles are pretty epic and engaging, and like I said, I don't typically like those. And he also deals with mind palaces in this one, which if you guys are familiar with Sherlock, you will know that this is a technique that was actually used a lot in the Middle Ages, in particular by monks and bards, people who had to retain a lot of knowledge without having access to the written word, and they use that tool in this book, and he explains it very well. And just everything about this book is fantastic. It's just epic in scope, and I love it so much. It's definitely a fantasy series that I think would really appeal to literary fiction lovers, because it is very much focused on the characters, but it also has a pretty good heavy focus on the world events as well. It's like a pretty good mixture, because sometimes fantasy stories tend to focus solely on the characters, and sometimes they focus solely on the events of the world, and this one has a pretty good mixture of both. So definitely one of my favorite books from this year as well. In terms of my goals this year, I had some reading goals I set out for myself. One of those was to read 4 specific Charles Dickens books, and so far I haven't even finished my first one, so I need to get caught up. I started David Copperfield in January, and I was really enjoying it, but then I got distracted by other books, and I had some buddy reads and some other things going on, like I joined the BookTube SFF Awards, so it kind of fell to the wayside. So I want to catch up and finish David Copperfield, and then I want to move on to Little Dorrit, and then The Mystery of Edwin Drood, and then I'm hoping my 4th one will be Hard Times, so we shall see. I really am looking forward to finishing David Copperfield, because I'm really liking that book, so I need to catch up on that goal. And in general, I was hoping to read more classics this year. I read 5. I'm wanting to pick up some more this year. I definitely want to get back to reading classics, since that is one of my favorite genres to read. So I need to get back into picking up more of those. I actually got Tolkien's translation of Beowulf, which is one of my favorite epics, classic epics. So I kind of want to read this one this year and see Tolkien's twist and analysis on it as well. So this will be one of the classics I get to in the near future. I also had a goal of reading 100 books so far this year. I'm about halfway there, not quite, so I definitely need to have some catching up I need to do in order to meet my goal. I didn't quite meet it last year, so we'll see if I meet it. If I don't, I'm okay with that. I mean, my goal's pretty lax. I set it there as kind of something to achieve, just something to kind of set it there as a fun goal, so it's not anything that I'm like, oh my god, the world's going to end if I don't make it, but it'll be fun to hit it, so we shall see. I also this year wanted to work on some rereads. I want to reread The Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, and Anne of Green Gables, and the Robin Hobb books. I am, of course, rereading the Robin Hobb books because I'm doing my Hob-along read-along, which has been fantastic. You guys have had a lot of wonderful discussions in their group, and I'm loving seeing everything you guys have to say. I did start my Anne of Green Gables read-along, but I've only read the first 2 books, so I need to get on reading the rest of the series, and it's been fantastic. I'm loving being back with Anne. I love that series to bits. And then I haven't even started rereading The Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter. I'm hoping to do both of those in the fall and winter, because they've always been fall-winter reads for me. So I'm hoping about September, October, kind of picking up those 2 series and rereading them before the end of the year. So we'll see how that pans out, because that'll only give me like 3-4 months, so we shall see. So I still have a fair amount of time to reach all of my goals. I'm hoping I can, so we shall see. Guys, that is it for today's video. It's kind of how my year is stacking up so far for 2016 in terms of my reading and my goals. You guys will have to let me know how your year is going so far and what your favorite book is that you've read so far this year. Whatever else you want to throw down in the comments, guys, feel free to do so, because I always love chatting with you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great one. Until next time, happy reading. Bye!